Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Sunny. I hope you are all having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, I want to take a moment and give you a special welcome and let you know what the channel is all about. I will be making guides, gameplay, and reviews for all your gaming needs. If you have a special request, leave a comment down below. I promise, I will respond. Today we are diving into Diablo 3 and whether or not you should make the purchase in 2019. I'll be going over the game in a pros and cons format. For most of you, it won't come as a surprise that, in short, I'd say yes, you should get the game if you enjoy the genre. For an action RPG, it's probably in the top 3 for me. It's gritty, it has a fantastic story, and there is an endless amount of content. With endlessly scaling enemies and levels, there is always a new challenge. However, there is more to the story, so if you'd like to hear my full opinion, stick around and watch to the end of the video. To start things off, we will go ahead and discuss the pros, and this game has a lot of them, so strap in and bear with me for a moment. The biggest positive that this game has is its cooperative gameplay. When I first started playing just a couple weeks ago, my partner and I found that the game had a wonderful co-op system. You don't share loot, you share nearly all experience, except the kill bonus multiplier. You have the opportunity to give someone you are playing with items if you find it while you're playing together, and it overall just felt very clean and well done. To tie in with that, I felt that the fact that we had slightly different dialogue in our cutscenes made it much better to play through the story, which is quite good, and we'll get to that in a moment. We felt more individually connected to the characters we were playing. The story, which I just mentioned, is very good. It has 3 very important details that I think every good story needs: strong characters, call to action, and some sense of mystery. I felt fairly immersed in the game and found myself even trying to guess the outcome of what was going to happen. I think that Blizzard did a wonderful job on this one, and I'm very glad I got the opportunity to play through it. I'm not going to talk too much more about it, so I don't spoil anything for you, but it was great. Another huge positive in the game is the simple yet extensive crafting system. This won't become very important until after you play through the campaign and unlock the adventure mode, which is where you will undoubtedly spend a majority of your time in the game. There is a very good system set in place here which allows you to unlock all of the different crafting stations through the story, except the cube. I find myself going through tons of different stuff every time I get on, between gems, enchanting, the blacksmith, and the bloody cube. I think that this is one of the best crafting systems in an action RPG that I have personally played around with. I mentioned earlier that the game has never-ending difficulty levels, and that's not a lie. Although in the beginning you may find the game isn't too difficult, and I believe that it is simply to encourage faster progression so that you can get to the difficult stuff later on. Going through the campaign, I actually ended up turning up the difficulty multiple times just because I felt it was too easy. So if that's also the case for you, don't be afraid to raise the difficulty level and try some harder content. You can always change it back if it's too much. That being said, I think that the later content is definitely challenging and will give you something fun yet difficult to play. The gameplay itself is actually really good. The combat system is clean, and the rune system isn't too complex but adds enough diversity that I feel it isn't overly simple either. You have not only the option to experiment with your abilities and what they can do, but to also play your class how you want to play it. As someone who hasn't played too much of the other Diablo games, I can't speak to whether or not this system does their old systems justice or not, but I find it to be in a sweet spot between diverse and simple. Now that we've touched on the things that I believe are the most positive aspects of the game, I'll touch on a few things that I find to be the worst things about the game. The first big one for me, and it doesn't directly impact the gameplay itself, however, the fact that you have to invest a fairly large chunk of money into the game in order to even play, $40 USD, and then you are locked out of a lot of cosmetic items because you joined the party late is a little disappointing. I found that a lot of the cosmetic items are locked behind previous season rewards or special events that took place in the past. I understand that these things are intended to incentivize players to come back each season to get new stuff and to try their other games. However, if you didn't own the game at the time, it feels kind of bad to be locked out of those rewards entirely. This wouldn't be such a big deal if the other cosmetic items weren't so heavily RNG based. For instance, the eagle wings that you see on my character, it didn't feel rewarding to obtain them, since I had to go to a particular map in Act 3, look for a mysterious chest, and if it wasn't there, you have to back out of the game and remake to reset the map. This process can take hours depending on how lucky, or in my case, how unlucky you are. I think to make it more rewarding, they should have more wings and other transmog items tied to achievements in the game, and there are a few. However, it would be nice if there was just more, just so you can say, look what I did, instead of, look how lucky I got. The other thing that may drive some people away from the game is the price, but let's be honest, with the amount of overall content and development that has went into the game, and the price being less than that of a AAA game, it isn't too much of an ask. I'd say that if you're on the fence, and you're not sure if you'd really like it all that much, play through the first act for free to get a feel for it. If you don't want to play through the first act, then do what I did and just make each of the characters, test them out to see if you like the feel of the mechanics and overall style of the game, and then make a decision. I haven't been disappointed during my time in the game. I hope that you aren't either. Thank you everyone so much for joining me today. I hope you found the information useful. If you did, leave a like. I'd love to continue making content like this, so let me know of some other games you might like to see reviews on in the future. If you'd like to see some uncut gameplay of Diablo 3, subscribe and stay tuned because that will be coming very soon. I'll catch you guys on the next one.